This problem may look pretty different, but it's still just one fraction on each side of the problem, so I can still use that trick about cross multiplying. We do have that negative sign hanging out there too, and you might be wondering the best way to deal with that. My advice is to attach it to this numerator here, because that's just a simple monomial, so I'm going to think of this as kind of ignore this and put a negative over here. So when I do my cross multiplication, the next line is going to look something like this. And off the bat here, I'm getting a little bit concerned, because I can see on this right side over here, I'm going to have a negative 3v cubed plus 24v minus 45v. Oops, I forgot a squared over here. And I don't really have a lot of tools for solving cubic equations, so I'm a little nervous about this one. And it makes me think that I wonder if I shouldn't have checked factoring this thing out first, just to see what's up with that. So I'm actually going to start this problem over. Because I really don't know how to solve cubics very well without using syntactic division and things like that, and I don't want to bust all that stuff out if I don't have to. And I'm betting that they've made this thing work out so that we don't have to worry about that too much. So I'm going to go ahead and take this as, let's see, this is going to factor into, as suspected, there'll be a v minus 3 and a v minus 5 in there. And this is going to equal negative 3v over v minus 3. Now I'm willing to bet that this factorization thing is not going to happen every single time, but if you start seeing like v cubes in your problem, v to the fourth, look for that type of thing in the beginning and see what happens next. Because then when I start to multiply things through, I get 18 times v minus 3. I have negative 3v times v minus 3 times v minus 5, and you might be thinking to yourself, that doesn't look any better at all. But just like if I had, like, say, a problem that had an 18a on one side and a negative 3 on the a on the other, I can cancel off these a's. Same idea here, I can cancel off these v minus 3's. I mean, essentially what I'm doing is dividing both sides by v minus 3, and they're both canceling out. That's going to leave me with something like 18 equals negative 3v times v minus 5. And this is looking a lot friendlier, right? This is something we definitely can deal with. It is quadratic, and I do know how to handle quadratics pretty well. It's usually a good idea to keep the squared term positive, so even though it's going to take a little bit more work in this case, I'm going to move this and this to the other side of the equation to get an equation that looks something like positive 3v squared minus 15v plus 18 equals 0. The other thing that I'm noticing is that each of these numbers are divisible by 3. So I'm going to go ahead at this step and divide both sides of this equation by 3. Take it be v squared minus 5v plus 6 equals 0. You don't have to do that division, but it will make factoring easier, and you'll get the same answer either way. So now I'm going to factor this thing out, and this is going to be v minus 3 times v minus 2, and that's going to give us answers of v equals 3 or 2. So now I get to take these answers, go back to the original problem, and make sure that they are not restricted values. So here's the original problem in factored form, and I can see that this 3 is problematic. If I had v equal 3, I'll have a division by 0 here, I'll have a division by 0 here, and we can't have that. So this answer has to go, and my final answer is going to be simply v equals 2. So I want to say it does look like a big mess, a lot to do, but most of the stuff is you're relying on old skills. You know, when you get to this part, we're using some stuff from Algebra 1. When we get to this part, we're using some stuff from earlier in the year. The only part that really was new here was this cross multiplication piece, and also just kind of the hindsight of realizing that when I have the negative 3v times the v squared minus 8v plus 5, and that would give me a v cubed, to kind of maybe recalibrate and see if this could factor and other things we cancel off. But we're definitely using all the things from the whole semester. Take it one step at a time, be patient with yourself, and I'm sure you'll do great. Good luck.